A waste of a son-in-law in the mouth of everyone. Qin Li, you're being insulted. Qin Li, don't make a fool of yourself. You've got something to hide. You mute. Are you deaf again? It's all because of what he's been doing. After 10 years of lying down and tasting his guts, he's finally done it. It's finally done. In order to guard his icy, intelligent and sexy wife, Chu Qingyan. Qin Li's eyes went that way. It turned out to be Chu Qingyan doing yoga and said just like that. The buttons on her chest were popping off. His face was flushed, and he also definitely responded just like that, with 100 difficult sister-in-law. Sister-in-law angrily scolded him. Don't come to pick me up in the future. I don't want to be embarrassed at school. He solved all the crises by himself, eliminating all the people who wanted to take revenge on him, and the enemy was too scared to move. He came to him and said, "How do you want to die?" He's a great healer. He can save the world. He can also eliminate demons. The little boy was possessed by a demon, but he can't understand women's hearts. I went to do something, and she said, "Forget I asked. What will happen to his world? If he can help people, then he hasn't learned all these skills for nothing. Even if we find our parents, they'll be happy for us. So let's start our story. Lincheng University here." Sister-in-law Chu Zitan asked me, "How has this moved you to pick me up?" She looked at me, did not move, continued to shout me. "Qin Li, what are you still standing there for? Not quick to drive." She threw the bag to me. "Have come to my Chu family, ate more than a year of white rice, still cannot find a job," and pointed at me. "Qin Li, you listen to me. In the future, to pick me up away from the school. Do not let my classmates see. Sitting here, my sister-in-law won't let me go. I don't know what my sister thinks about having a brother-in-law like this." When I heard this, I squeezed the steering wheel tightly and didn't refute him. I drove the car back to the Chu family villa. Ming Hao really is a talented man, and he wasn't wrong about you back then. This man was so proud of himself. If I didn't have to go abroad for further studies, I might have been able to make it with. Yu Minghao looked inside the house. "Auntie, where's Qingyan? Why can't I see her? She's still at the office. She's not back yet." "Where's Qingyan's boyfriend? I heard he's at home because he can't talk." "Right. I'd like to meet the son-in-law who can win her heart." And Yin is standing downstairs shouting at Qin Li to come downstairs and meet the guests. "You've been at home all day. You don't dare come out to meet people." When Chu Zitan heard this, she called out to him, "Qin Li, are you still deaf? Didn't you hear my mom calling you?" Seeing that no one responded, she was so angry that she clenched her teeth, really treating this place as her own home. She looked into the room. I'm still in the room at this time to practice, wearing only an underwear. Chu Zitan covered her eyes and ran away shyly. "Why don't you wear clothes? Rascal!" With a further deepening of my kung fu, a whirlwind surrounded me and had condensed the qi into liquid, and this liquid spilled onto the potted plant. I slowly opened my eyes. It's been 10 years. I look at the condensed light. I finally practiced this technique. I slowly opened my mouth, pinched my chin. It's been 10 years since I spoke. It's such a long time since I've done so. Then I heard shouts from outside the door. "Qin Li, get your arse down here." "Qin Li, how many times do you want me to say?" I put on my clothes and was ready to go down. This potted plant actually exudes green vitality. And finally, brightly colored flowers bloomed. I just walked down the stairs. This mother-in-law continued to scold me. "Qin Li, you are still deaf now, is it?" I looked at this newcomer, and he seemed to be slowly getting on my nerves. He held out his hand. "This is Qin Li, right? Hello, I am Yu Minghao." Yu Minghao came close to me and whispered, "I heard that you were mute and are now relying on Qingyan to support you. What a waste. Don't think I don't know your mind. You joined the Chu family just for the Chu family property." He got vicious again. "You don't deserve Qingyan at all. I can give you 100,000. Now get out of the Chu family immediately." When he was about to finish his sentence, I heard a miserable scream from him. I pinched his hand, just a little bit harder, and Yu Minghao screamed, but I was still expressionless. His scream seemed to have nothing to do with me. "Hello, my name is Qin Li." My mother-in-law and sister-in-law were shocked when they heard me speak. My mother-in-law, Han Yin, asked me, "Qin Li, did you speak?" Yu Minghao looked at me with a painful face. "So you can talk? You can talk and still pretend to be mute. You liar. You lied to Qingyan for so many years. Don't you feel ashamed?" I just continued to pinch harder. Mother-in-law seemed to know something. "Qin Li, you give me a hurry to stop." At this time, Chu Zitan's mobile phone rang. When I heard the words from the other side, I was shocked. "What? The police want to arrest my sister?" I also heard what my sister-in-law said. "Attention over." I grabbed her hand. "Qingyan, what happened?" She responded with worry. "Something happened at the company. Sis is going to be arrested by the inspectors." I turned around and was ready to leave. Something serious was going on. Mother-in-law grabbed my sister-in-law's hand and scolded me. "Qin Li, where are you going? Get back to the house to do housework. Less unauthorized to run out to disgrace." Yu Minghao asked his aunt, "What happened to Qingyan?" There seems to be something wrong with Qingyan's company. The police surrounded the company, and said they wanted to take Qin Li away. His hand is swollen like a pig's hoof. Don't worry, my family has some contacts in Yangchang, so it'll be fine. Let's go over there and see what's going on. A woman is yelling at the entrance of Sky Eagle. She crossed her arms. I'm telling you, either you go to jail today, either you go to jail or you pay me $1 million in damages. Chu Qingyan came out and looked at the situation. Her mother held Qingyan's hand. 1 million. You're asking for a lot of money. You mean how also came out to speak for Qingyan? This lady, Qingyan, also said that many people use this cosmetic, but you're the only one who has developed this condition. It's obviously not the cosmetics. I am acquainted with the chief of the police force, but this woman is no pushover, the chief of the patrol bureau. Let me tell you, my name is Yuan, the mayor of Yangchang. Liu Zhen is my own cousin. Hearing the mayor of Yangchang, these three were shocked. Isn't that our highest officers in Yangchang? That's right. Speaking of which, this matter doesn't have much to do with me. After all, Ms. Yuan is a consumer, so the company has to take some responsibility. After Liu Minhao finished talking, I stood back and asked Ms. Liu, can you give me 10 minutes? If I treat the pustules on your face in 10 minutes, I'll call it quits. Okay. If I treat the pustules on your face in 10 minutes, I'll call it quits. Okay. You mean how look unconvinced? Into the cumbersome loser still dare to show off here. Really to the Chu family shame. Chu Qingyan is also trying to stop me. Qin Li, what are you doing? I'm already annoyed enough, don't add to the chaos. I turn my head. Don't worry, I'm not the same now. I have to do my duty as a husband once in a while. He was full of disdain. Not just can't speak, he is still a waste of space. And he still wants to show off in front of Qingyan. The people on the side of the road also mocked. So it's the trashy son-in-law who joined the Chu family. Isn't he unable to speak? A guy who eats his wife and spends her money. How dare he say that he can cure people? Simply ridiculous. How did the Chu family's eldest miss fall for this kind of person? I stood in front of Yuan with my hands in my pockets. The pus on this lady's face. I have a way to cure it. She continued to look angry. Humph, why should I trust you? If it can't be cured, I'm willing to take all the consequences. Deal with it however you like. When she heard me say this, she had a sinister look on her face. Fine, you cure it. If you can't cure it, don't blame me for being merciless. Qingyan came forward and pulled me back. Qin Li, what are you doing? What are you doing? You're just going to get me into trouble when you're just able to speak. I looked at her sideways. The bumps on her face are actually internal fire. So if it's convenient, please prepare some herbs for me. But she didn't trust me. Is that okay? I politely said it should be okay. Yu Minhao continues to bark. Qin Li, let's see how you lend out. If you get Qingyan involved, I won't spare you. Qingyan brought over the Chinese medicine. Here, what you asked for. Let's get one thing straight. The Chu family won't be responsible if anything goes wrong. I brought the herbs and prepared to make it. Of course I am aware that the Chu family won't help with this kind of thing. But the current me was no longer the mute Qin Li, who couldn't speak and could only rely on the Chu family's mercy. I put all the medicinal herbs into the entry, plus water, and pounded vigorously. It didn't take long for it to be ready, and I looked at the finished herbal medicine. I smiled and brought it over. It's finished. Lady, do you want to put it on your face and try it? The people on the other side looked at the Chinese medicine. It was so disgusting. Like that, it was still hot. But you won't still put it on her face. But you better not lie to me, otherwise there will be a good time for you. She was so slow. Don't worry, it's absolutely effective. I just grabbed a pile of it and put it on her face. She was so disgusted. She ran to the toilet. The others were laughing, while Qingyan was worried about whether it would really work. I was expressionless and confident, only to hear a shout from the toilet. The pimples on Yuan's face are gone. Little brother, it's simply a miracle. These three people's jaws dropped in shock straight away. How could it be possible? The latter couldn't believe that I was able to cure it. So Qingyan went up to me and asked, Qin Li, what's going on here? How did you cure him? Liu Wan, seeing my superior medical skills, asked me, little brother, can you cure other diseases? I can't answer you exactly right now. I need to see the patient. She stretched out 5 fingers. My uncle's disease is very complicated. If you can cure it, I will give you $500,000 for treatment. Good, I promise. But Qingyan behind me said I was crazy. She didn't know my medical skills. She then blocked me. Not allowed to go. You're not a doctor. This kind of thing and curing pimples are 2 different things. I told her not to worry. I'd take care of myself. Who do you think you are? If you die, the Chu family won't cover for you. I ignored her and left. When I heard that, I sighed. I'll take care of it myself. I won't give the Chu family any trouble. Yangcheng City Hospital, outpatient department. The mayor of Yangcheng, Liu Zhen, asked the doctor, is there really no way out? His condition has deteriorated beyond our expectations. The risk of surgery is too great. Yuan was worried and looked at the doctor. Zen, how come Uncle is in the ICU? Yu Zhen then explained. This morning, Dad's condition suddenly deteriorated, and now Dr. Mikey is in the ward resuscitating. She pulled me. Zen, this is the Chinese medicine doctor I met today. The medical skill is very high. Can't your uncle's disease? Yu Zhen asked me with a serious face. Is not a doctor? I naturally is. Look at your age. You're only in your early 20s. Can you show me your doctor's license? I rolled my eyes. Sorry, I don't have one. He then angrily yelled at Yuan on the side. Sister, are you not joking? I will never let this kind of person treat my father. Yuan could only apologize to me. Sorry, Dr. Qin, you'd better go. At that moment the nurse suddenly came out. The patient's signs were weak. Resuscitate him immediately. They were surprised. What's going on? Several people came to the ICU room. Yu Zhen asked Dr. Mickey, how is my dad? The doctor could only say in a low voice, I'm sorry, we tried our best. Yuan on the side didn't want to give up. Zhen, Uncle's condition. Let's let him take a look. Maybe he can really be cured. Don't add to the chaos. Even the best doctor in Yanqin said there was no way. How could I possibly let a kid, who doesn't even have a doctor's license, mess around? I looked at the old man's condition. The old man is still saved. If I miss the time, it's hopeless. But Liu Zhang only said, get lost. I got serious. Mayor Liu, do you dare to make a bet with me? Mayor Liu looked at me angrily. Bet, what do you have to offer me? If I save the old man, you apologize to me. If I don't, you can treat me as a liar and put me in jail. As a result, Mayor Liu pointed at the door. What are you? Get the hell out of here. That's enough. Mr. Qin, please also leave. I walked in the doorway, but I guarantee you regret it. I didn't expect Chu Qingyan to be here, so he taunted me and had to come and make a fool of me. Now it hurts. She turned around and prepared to leave. Hurry up and go home. Don't disgrace yourself here. When we were ready to go home, we heard the instrument drop. Liu Zhen panicked and asked the doctor, what's wrong with my father? Why does he keep convulsing? The doctor immediately ordered the nurse to get a pacemaker, but by this time, the device had already been reset to 0. The doctor sighed. There's nothing I can do. Liu Zhen couldn't believe it. He was fine just now, but suddenly, all he got was I'm sorry for your loss. Yu Zhen then fell on the bedside, crying, Father, my son is unfilial. I haven't had the chance to repay you. I saw a figure break through the door. I shouted, get out of the way. The patient is still alive. I took out my silver needle. 10 years ago, an immortal taught me a set of gong fu and medical knowledge. Now is the time to perform it. I started to run my gong directly. Mayor Liu on the side looked at me. Was I wrong? There seems to be a qi emanating from this teenager. The gong method has prevented me from speaking for 10 years though. If I can use it to save a person or a life today, what's 10 years of patience? I quickly inserted the silver needle into the patient's body. Just after inserting it, there was a reaction. The patient coughed up blood. The family members were screaming for the patient. Seeing that the patient had been saved by me, I breathed a sigh of relief. Fortunately in time, the doctor was shocked. How could this be possible? The two of them approached the patient. Dad, you finally woken up. Uncle, you finally woke up. You scared me to death. The patient touched Liu Wan's head. Letting you all worry about me as an old man. I didn't want to stay here, so I was ready to leave. Behind me, Liu Zhang knelt down and called out to me. I turned my head curiously, a little surprised. Liu Zhang rushed to apologize. Mr. Qin, I'm a small man with the heart of a gentleman. I just treated you that way. I picked up Mayor Liu. I bet with you in order to save the talent. Please do not mind. The old man's illness will be cured with good care. Liu Wan also fulfilled his promise. Dr. Qin, I'm sorry for what happened today. In addition, please tell me your account number. I will save 500,000 yuan to call the past. Just as I left the house, I heard a voice. Great, Dr. Qin. I looked over in passing. Chu Qingyan has her hands around her arms. You are coincidental today. In the future, do not do this kind of thing that is strong. I am also helpless. Just how bad is my impression in her heart? They didn't realize that there was another person here. Liu Minghao looked at the two with a sinister face. This damn guy. I then returned home with Chu Qingyan. Mother-in-law immediately went up to comfort. My Qingyan little baby, today's events did not scare you. Right, you've worried me to death. Mom, it's okay. It's over. When she saw me, she yelled at me. What are you standing there for? Hurry up and clean up the house. After that, I went back to my room. Qingyan, the housework was already done. I was a little surprised at the scene in front of me. Chu Qingyan's movements were very ambiguous. Her mouth was also breathing out. Her legs slowly lowered, but I immediately changed my face back. Practicing yoga. When I was about to put my clothes into the wardrobe, she asked me, I heard Zitan say that you came to be a hooligan at home today. After I picked her up this morning, I forgot to lock the door when I was changing clothes in my room, and the girl pushed the door and saw it directly. When I finished speaking, I took a peek at Qinyan's body. Qinyan's face was flushed, and she was kneeling on the bed. Just like that. As a result, a button was popped off in front of her chest. I was a bit shy looking at this look, that's all. She then lay down on the bed again. Well, I know Z10's character. I don't think you'll dare to bully her. In addition, in the future, less strong head. Today can be safe and sound is just your luck. I measured my face and said, oh, she continued. By the way, there's a family banquet tomorrow. You should come too. Family dinner. Okay. I agreed with a blank face. Finally, Qinyan snapped and lay down on the bed. I was so tired. In the end, she seemed like a peach blossom. But today's events. Thank you anyway. I was a bit surprised. Why did she thank me? The family banquet is being held here at the Royal Hotel. Chu family relatives start greeting each other. All calm. This is our Chu family's first party this year. All set. I'm looking at the old hag across the street, dressed in such fancy clothes. She's definitely going to be a demon again. This is Chu Gui-chan, Chu Jin's elder sister. Qin Yin, when are you going to have children? Chu Qinyan put down her glass of wine. Auntie, we're not ready yet. There's no rush. Auntie continued. Hurry up while you're young. You have to make your dad worry less. Thank you for the reminder. Auntie, I was calmly eating my meal. Auntie turned to her son Chanwen and said, luckily, our Chanwen saves me a lot of trouble, unlike some people who let their wives support them. The old woman chimed in. Sister, your son-in-law is no ordinary man. The old woman laughed and said, my Chanwen has a job to do. Unlike some people, I pay Qinyan. I said, I'm eating my own food. Old evil woman coughed lightly, and Chanwen seemed to realize what was going on. Then he took out a gift. Uncle, it's our first party. I've prepared a little gift for you. Please accept it. Please accept it. Why are you so polite? Chanwen has a heart. When the old man opened the gift box, he was shocked. A large blue and white bowl. That's right. I know my uncle likes porcelain, so I paid $300. 000 for it. I bought this Yuan Dynasty blue and white large bowl for my uncle. I hope he will like it. Everyone is shocked. A $300. 000 Yuan Dynasty bowl. The couple scrutinized the bowl. Ouch. This Chanwen is really broke. $300. 000 treasure. When I saw the bowl emitting black aura, something's not right with this bowl. This bowl is not just a fake, it's also a scourge. Chanwen stood up to talk to me. Brother-in-law should have prepared a gift. I wonder what it is. It's my fault. I forgot that you're a disabled man who relies on your sister to support the family. So you must not have much money. I'm going to be promoted to section chief today. Qinyan got upset when she heard this and put down her glass. Brother-in-law, thank you for your kind words. Qin Li, no matter what, is still a member of our family. It is not your turn to talk here. He then smiled awkwardly. Yes, but people who can't even afford a gift. I am feeling bad for my sister. Hearing me explain, aren't you a mute? How come you're talking? You can't give anything even if you bring a gift. You're just a loser even if you can talk. I pointed at the large blue and white bowl. But whatever I give, it's still more practical than the fake my brother-in-law gave me. Qin Li, what do you mean? I paid $300. 000 to receive this specially. You can't afford it, but you can't accuse our Chanwen. I continue to say, no matter how much you spent, it's a fake. You're full of shit. Chanwen slapped the table. You piece of shit. Who are you to say that what I gave you is a fake? I scratched my head and said, okay, I'm just proving it to you. Father-in-law, just shut up. Chu Jane, your Qin Li is too unruly. He's jealous of my Chanwen, and he's throwing mud at me. My face was gloomy. The antiques my brother-in-law gave me are not ordinary fakes. Qinyan then refuted my words. Even if it's a fake, it's still a token of my brother-in-law's appreciation. Besides, today is my Chu family's family banquet. At this time, Mayor Liu came in. Fake? What kind of fake is it? Can you show me? Chanwen immediately stood up to greet him. Mayor Liu, why are you here? I didn't expect you to know that I'm a small section chief. And you even came here. I'll introduce you to everyone. This is Mayor Liu of Yongcheng. Just when I thought the two were about to shake hands. Just see, what a coincidence. I didn't expect to meet you here, Mr. Qin. I really have to thank you for yesterday. A show of hands. Chanwen continued to recommend himself. Mayor Liu? Qin Li was a mute waste before. You have mistaken him. Right. Mayor Liu looked at Chanwen with a fierce face and asked him who it was. Chanwen knelt down and replied, I am Chanwen, the section chief who just took office. Mayor Liu scratched his neck at me. Does Chanwen have a problem with you? He is my brother-in-law. We were just discussing whether this antique is a fake or not. Mayor Liu looked at the bowl on the table. Antique? Isn't this a large blue and white bowl? Oh, you're an expert in appraising antiques. Take a look. Oh, why sharp up? I have not done years of appraisal, but the blue and white used to be my specialty. It picked up this bowl. Look at the color. It looks like a genuine Yuan dynasty piece. I'm sure. Chang Wen explained behind me that I paid a lot of money for it. You think it's authentic? I looked seriously at Master Wu. Master Wu looked at me too. Are you questioning me? So you think it's a fake? I was sure, wasn't I? Old Wu laughed a few times and patted me on the shoulder. I finally know why Mayor Liu admires you. Yes, it's a fake. This Yuan dynasty blue and white bowl looks real from afar, but up close, there are traces of aging on the glaze. Although the pattern depicts a sophisticated technique, it lacks the charm of a single breath. So it's a high-fashion fake, and this fake was stored with the corpse in the tomb for some time. This Yuan dynasty blue and white bowl is a real disaster. And he pointed out to Chang Wen. Chang Wen, how can you give this kind of thing away? Chang Wen pretended not to know. Qin Li, right. Young man, this high imitation is very similar. You can actually see it. It shows that your eyesight is good. Let's get together sometime. Mayor Liu waved his hand and signaled. Okay, Mr. Qin is a valuable person to me. I was just about to ask you to meet me, so let's have a word. I waved my hand and said, Dad, you guys eat first. I'll be right back. And he looks envious. Hen Ying, your son-in-law is so close to the mayor. He's much more powerful than my Chen Wen. Mayor Liu, if you have anything to say, just tell me. To be honest, my father was cured by a Mr. Qin, but he only started to get sick recently after he came to my house. When I heard it was in the past months, I realized something was wrong. Can I take your pulse? I looked at Mayor Liu's hand and saw that the aura surrounding it was just as I suspected. How is a Mr. Qin? Don't worry, Mayor Liu, I know what's going on in my heart. When our family banquet is over, I'll pay a visit and settle this matter for you once and for all. Mayor Liu cheers up. That's great. I'll wait for you at home. Sir, I'll carry my father-in-law to the car. Qin Li, you've done your father a great honor. You guys go home first. I'm going out. After they left, I took out my mobile phone. It came through. A route has been planned. Mayor Liu's house. I walked down the road and turned right ahead. When I got to the alley, there were people there on the road ahead. Liu Minhao came here with a group of minions. Qin Li, we meet again. I'll send you to hell this time. Liu Minhao started cursing because it had a lot of men. Qin Li, you piece of shit. He held out two fingers. If you cut off your hands today, I'll let you go. I didn't give a damn about him and pulled out my earwax. So it's you, Liu Minhao. You're really a ghost. He was still proudly swinging his tie. Don't worry, it's okay if you don't do it. I'll help you. Then this group of people began to rush forward. Brothers, hand over a hand 50,000. I watched calmly as they rushed towards me. As I watched them come, I unleashed my inner strength. The one who took the brunt of the attack directly hit this punk with a left leg. Another right punch hit another punk. And finally, a flying kick, hitting the back of the punk. In a short while, I knocked down all the punks and said to the stunned Liu Minhao, you don't seem to have enough people with you. He was scared and wanted to run away from here. What's going on? Is this still that dumb punk? How come he's suddenly so strong? I hooked my finger. Come over here. As a result, he ran away, afraid of me chasing after him, screaming not to come over. I let out a sigh of relief. Mayor Liu's house should be in this direction. This group of punks are still paralyzed on the ground. I came to this neighborhood. This is it. The stone lion at the entrance stands out. I rang the doorbell. Mayor Liu looked at me with a face of vicissitude. Mr. Qin, I've been waiting for you for a long time. Please come in. He pointed to the room inside. I looked at the room, surrounded by aura of death. Look at the situation. It is more serious than I thought. I followed Mayor Liu to the room. When I opened the door, he panicked. Honey, what's wrong? Ji is sick again. The two of them looked at the sky in horror. Ji was floating up. I realized something was wrong and looked over too. Ji touched his neck in distress. A monster appeared in the sky and took Ji up into the air. Behind me, Mayor Liu was anxious for me to take a quick look. I unleashed my own internal power. Don't worry, I'll save him now. By this time, Ji's eyes had turned red. He waved his hands. The words coming out of his mouth had turned into a monster's voice. Don't you touch me. Get out. Get out. He seemed to be scared of me. With a wave of my small hand, several silver needles shot out. After hitting Ji, he immediately reacted. His body was no longer surrounded by the demonic aura. Mayor Liu and his wife wanted to go forward, but I stopped them. It wasn't over yet. Xiao Ji's mouth was bubbling with baneful energy. The next step is to force it out and clean it up. These two have grumpy eyes. Liu Zhan, what rubbish you found? If anything happens to Ji, I want him to pay for it. No good. They've been affected. I have to be quick. I'll take out a silver needle and insert it directly into the lady's eyebrow. I took out a silver needle and inserted it directly into the lady's eyebrow. Finally, the demonic aura came out of Qin's body, and Qi slowly floated up with it. I shot out 3 needles and hit the aura. In the end, Qi was fine and called out for his mother. I looked around. Don't worry, he's fine. Now I have to find the source of the aura. Have you had any unpleasant surprises or gifts recently? Not really, but I did receive a pair of stone lions. The ones in front of the door. After I heard that, I went out the door. I looked at the stone lion, and I found it. It was the stone lion that was emitting the demonic aura. I took out the stone from the lion's mouth. This is the source of your illness. This stone has a very strong aura attached to it, and you'll always come into contact with it when you go in and out of the house. As time passes, you will be infected and become irritable and weak as a result. I crushed the stone, and that's the end of it. Mistress, you came over. Mr. Qin, thank you for saving G today. I'm really sorry for just now. I waved my hand. It's okay. The child is okay. Mr. Qin, thank you so much for today. I'll have the driver take you back. But before that, I have an idea. I wonder if Mr. Qin wants to open a medical clinic. I've thought about it. You saved my whole family's lives this time. How about I set up a medical center for Mr. Qin as a token of my appreciation? I finally agreed. Thank you. Mayor Liu, if I can help more people by opening a clinic, then I've learned this technique for nothing. In the future, if I find my parents, they should be happy for me too. I seem to have seen something. Master driver, stop the car. I hit the seat in front of me. The driver held his eyes. You're here now. I saw Chuqinyan here. It's so late. Why is she here? The driver moved his sunglasses. You've got a good eye. You look like a lady. There's another pretty girl coming out. Her figure fascinates the passers-by. The beauty waved her hand. Long time no see. Yum, you're here to see your best friend. I was overthinking it. But the two met but not greeted each other. After that, the two separated. These two viewers had their jaws dropped by this scene. Two beautiful women embracing each other into the bar. It will be so explosive scene inside. The driver watched the whole journey and was stunned. Brother, you have a unique vision. The leather-clad beauty gestures for the waiter to bring a bottle of wine. My little baby, you've been on my mind. I thought you'd forgotten about me. Chuqinyan said she's been too busy lately, and she's had some problems at work. But tonight, let's not think about those things. Let's have a good time. She had the same idea, so the two of them hit it off and got drunk. The two glasses clinked together and there was a loud crash. And they did drink a lot of wine, and it was all very expensive wine. She was so drunk. I was trying to avoid a family marriage. I wouldn't have been so stressed. The leather-clad hottie was a little heartbroken. It's really aggravating for my little baby. Drink up this cup as well. She's already delirious, and she's drinking like a good girl. The leather-clad hottie looked determined to win, and gently took her by the shoulders. Then she took her up and left. Was she really not being nice? She helped Chuqinyan up the stairs, but the sound of her high heels seemed incredibly empty. Just as they arrived at the door, an evil man inside the door opened it instantly. She pushed the drunken woman to the man and watched as they walked to the bed. The man doesn't hide his face any longer, and he makes a very nasty face. He even locked the door to the room just in case. At this moment, Chuqinyan was lying on the bed, as if she was a lamb to be slaughtered. The man stroked her red lips in a perverted manner. Who made you unwilling to divorce that loser? He looked at the special thing in front of him, and suddenly began to tear her long skirt. And there was actually a video on the opposite side of the room. At this time, there was a knock at the door, causing the man inside to be shocked. He looks at the beautiful woman he's about to get, and the man outside the door who's coming to deliver the security measures. The little bitch took the money and did a really good job. He didn't expect to be surprised when he opened the door, but it was the pretty girl's punk husband. He kept backing up after being caught. How come it's you, loser? Qin Li, don't misunderstand. I just saw that she was drunk and brought her here. The man didn't give him a chance to explain. He swung his fist and punched the idiot. He was spitting out blood and his consciousness became unclear. The man dodged in front of him and said, "Tell me, how do you want to die?" He kowtowed to the man and begged for forgiveness. "I'll get out of here and never show up again. I won't dare to do it again. Master Qin, Father Qin, look at me. I've been beaten and spat out blood." Qin Li said it's okay, so get lost and don't show up again. When he got the order, he quickly left, thanking him, but this idiot didn't know what to do. He waved his dagger and made a return move. "I didn't think you'd never change, so don't blame me." The man took out a silver needle and easily penetrated his genitals. He started foaming at the mouth in pain. Qin Li told him to behave himself. While he kicked the idiot out, he actually found the fainted leather-clad hottie. After he solved all this, he breathed a long sigh of relief. Luckily I ran into it today, but his wife is still unresolved, so he summoned the energy in his body. With a silver needle in his hand, he began to detoxify his wife. After a few moments, she slowly opened her eyes. Qin Li gently reminded you that you woke up. How does your body feel? There is no discomfort, but this scene in Chu Qinyan's view. She was a little angry and sad. Sure enough, she slapped the man's face. You bastard. The man expressed his dissatisfaction. I just saved your life. What do you mean you turn around and hit me? Chu Qinyan didn't believe his bullshit. You even wanted to use force on me, and then you said you saved me afterwards. The man stood up after being falsely accused and became stoic. He slowly tried to leave the room. What I didn't do is what I didn't do. Believe it or not. She did not listen to any explanation. Qin Li, that son of a bitch. You get out. After venting her anger, the woman started to cry, but she suddenly raised her head and looked at the camera. The man was sitting in the garden, but his mobile phone was ringing like crazy. Is this little brother Qin Li? This is Sister Yuan. I'm looking for you. Do you still have the plasters you gave me last time? I want to buy a large batch and improve them for me. Qin Li said, of course, it's no problem. I have to go back and get ready. Let's start with 200 copies. 2 million will be put into your card later, and the rest will be taken as sponsorship fee. The man smiled happily. Thank you, Sister Yuan. At this time, the bell suddenly rang, reminding everyone that it was time. It's so late and he hasn't come back yet. I misunderstood him like this today. I won't be angry, right? At this time, there was a sound from outside the door and the door was opened instantly. He saw the woman on the sofa, and for a moment, he didn't know how to react. So just when he wanted to ignore the past, the woman questioned him about what took him so long to come back. The man said he had gone out to do something, but the woman thought she was making a fuss. He looked back at his wife helplessly, but his beautiful eyebrows quietly wrinkled up. Chu Qinyan suddenly wanted to explain, but she stumbled and didn't know how to express it. He turned away from looking at her. What's wrong with you today? A little bit not right. I didn't expect the woman to stammer for half a day, but it was actually the possibility of being fired from the company. The leader talks to the woman and actually forces her to leave her job, and her colleagues are also talking about it. The man sighed softly. It's okay if you really quit. Chu Qinyan said that if she was fired, who would take care of the family? Not to mention that it's hard to find a job. I had to go to her and explain what I meant. Do you remember the man I treated? After I cured him, he gave me a medical center, together with the money I made from my previous treatments. If you are willing to help me run it, it will be no problem for you to support your family. Obviously, the woman doesn't believe that opening a clinic is a trick. I'm going to open the clinic in a while. You can tell me if you want to run it together. There were tears in her eyes. Thank you for your comfort. I actually wanted to apologize. The doorbell rang early in the morning with a man's loud voice. He woke up sleepily and opened the door. If there was one person he met, it was her. It must be her. He opened the door while thinking about it. Sure enough, it was Chu Qinyan's best friend. Miss Tenzi is eager to get inside. She kept poking and prodding at the man. My best friend married you. What a flower in Caldon. But it felt that this woman would not be good for him. After all, he had let her get away with so much when he was in school. Miss Ten again raised her voice. Qinyan, get ready to go out shopping. He had to be the driver, but the two beauties in the car were very happy. Chu Qinyan wanted to find out where she was going, but Miss Tan didn't reveal a thing. The man braked sharply, accompanied by a woman's cry of surprise. This Imperial City Clubhouse. Only the upper class can enter and participate in the high-class urban auction. Tanzidi led her girlfriends to enter first, but Qin Li, who followed behind, became the driver. Inside, the lift is actually as high as 99 floors, the top floor of which is known as S. The most exciting thing here is the gambling stone auction. The stone will be opened on site after the auction. Either the value will be doubled, or there will be no return of the blood money. The host strikes the hammer and the fifth raw stone is won by number 3. Numerous upper-class people look on with anticipation, waiting for the host's announcement. She persuaded a man to help his wife to buy a gambling stone, but I didn't expect him to accept it gladly. This auction item is a green skin raw stone, and the crowd said they'd hurry to get their hands on it. Qin Li got up early in the morning and was incredibly sleepy, but he looked furiously to the side. He couldn't help but walk over to the stone, which was labeled waste area. This stone's breath actually resonates with the power in my body. It's unbelievable. At this point, the stone was on the stage, and Tana betted her girlfriends to ask her husband to pay for it, and if Qin Li lied to them, she suddenly used her hand to gesture her neck. Chu Qinyan asked her to calm down a bit, but where did her so big husband go? Her husband, Qin Li, had already picked up the small stone and intended to buy this obsolete one. He was going to bite this to pieces, just as he was the one who had spare change on him, only to see him pull out bits and pieces of coins, indicating that he would let the waiter cut a piece for him. Beauty Tan cursed at him angrily. How dare this loser go to the scrap area? It's still the same as before. What a disgrace. He even said he wanted to open a medical center. She kept on cursing. One would never expect this broken stone to ship out. The waiter trembled and exclaimed that the stone in the waste area was full of green. This undoubtedly is let Tin Beauty ruthlessly face. Surprise, mouth open wide. The crowd heard the sound of turning to watch. The result of each looked shocked. Oh my god, it's actually an icy full green. It's the best of the best. It's so lucky to be opened in the waste area. So the crowd was in a mess, scrambling to buy the scrap. Qin Li held the stone with an expressionless face, and there were people around him asking for the stone. After the price rose to 1 million, an old man actually offered $5 million. This big man in the jade industry said that this stone is worth at least $5 million. The old man said, "This stone is worth at least $5 million. How about you let me have it?" Qin Li handed the stone to his wife. "I bought it for her. She can decide whatever she wants." Chu Qingyin looked at the jade in front of her and couldn't help but frown and think about it. She said good jade should be given to someone who knows how. Uncle Tin is the king of jade. It's an honor for the younger generation to have you look at it. Old man Tin was coaxed and happy. Qingyin is still so good at talking. I will send the check over in a moment. At this moment, the old man took out another stone. Can you help me look at this one? Little brother. The man said it was an ordinary stone, which was a blow to the old man's head. How could it be so wrong? The auction items here are selected by thousands of people. The old man handed it to the attendant. Whether he's right or not, we'll have to dig it up and see. Tenzidi trusts her father even more. Qin Li dares to make up his own mind. Let's see how he'll defend himself later. The valet appeared with the stone. It's green, but it's full of cracks. It's worthless. Elder Tan exaggeratedly shook his hand. We still need a jade shop. If you are interested, you can come and try. The man just wanted to refuse, but was interrupted by Tan Lao in time, and told him to think more about it. The old man's woman simply couldn't believe why her old man would look the other way. After this matter ended perfectly, the two of them departed to drive home. He handed the check to his wife. I'll teach you if you want to learn how to gamble. But she smacked the check away. Qin Li, have you been lying to me before? Why did you pretend to be a mute and be called a loser? The old man was wearing a cloth coat and a worn-out straw hat on his head. He seemed to have seen something and raised his head violently. Kid, you will surely make a name for yourself, but you need to be sealed for 10 years of Qi roaring Kung Fu before you can raise or in your body. This is your destiny. The rest is up to you. With those words, the old man disappeared and said that we would meet again in the future. Qin Li had to explain that he didn't lie to her, and that he was indeed a mute. Obviously she did not believe the man's bullshit. Why did you agree to marry me in the first place? His eyes showed a bit of consternation. You do not remember what happened before. He was bullied for being a mute, and the man even held vegetable soup over his head. But a small hand suddenly appeared and knocked the cigarette out of the man's hand. You people, bullying an underprivileged person, you think it's dignified? The beautiful woman recalled the end. She also remembered her own courageous deeds. He expressed himself happy that you graduated from school is to find me to get married, although I clearly understand that I'm just your shield. For a moment she became squirmy. So you never resented me? He looked pleasantly at his beautiful wife. How could I possibly resent you for that? The Chu family has not wronged me and neither have you, and I have always treated you as my wife. But he noticed a slight difference in his wife. She shyly cocked her small face. Stinking Qin Li suddenly said this for what really make people strange embarrassed. They traveled without words, and the feelings in the carriage heated up rapidly. My clinic is opening tomorrow. Do you want to come and have a look? She thought it was a joke, but it's not as simple as healing people. He exuded confidence. I'll just treat some fevers and colds. Don't worry, just shy little wife actually began to get angry again. If the hospital accident no one care about you. Then she bit her lower lip. This idiot cannot hear that I am worried about him. To save the world and help the people to turn back to Qianquan. Qianquan Hall is officially opened. The door of the clinic is decorated with a festive good luck song. People are attracted to go in and watch it. The staff is organizing the medicines in an orderly manner, leaving a lot of space for the guests to walk around. The Chu family has a good son-in-law. If Qin Li opens a medical center, it must not be a trap. The old man said they do not need to bother. Mayor Liu had to send the medical center. It is really degenerate to refuse. The man came forward with a sinister look, thinking that if he climbed up to Mayor Liu, everything would be fine. You really don't want to die? Qin Li said he didn't understand how opening a medical center could be life-threatening. The man explains that your place is under my inspection. While he was about to threaten something, Mayor Liu walked into the clinic with his wife. The two people watching this scene were stunned. Their mouths were wide open and they didn't dare to say another word. The men were scared and stepped back. What's the relationship between Qin Li and Mayor Liu? Sister One praised this place is really good. Qin Li has gone to meet them personally. At this time, Chu Qingyin snapped her book closed. Just now she was still talking about sarcasm. Now why don't you say anything? Outside, a tearful cry rang out. Help! Save my son! People in the medical center looked over to see what was going on outside. They saw their son in the middle-aged man's arms. His face was black and he was spitting blood. Qin Li rushed over and quickly broke the crowd of people watching. Let me be the doctor! The boy tried to say something, but he was cut off by the violent coughing. This child is so sick. Quickly sent to the hospital. This is not something you can resolve. As expected, these two villains who were watching the scene sinisterly indicated that the clinic would be closed down soon. The middle-aged man pinned his hopes on him. He must save my son. So the boy was put on the hospital bed, and Qin Li calmly checked his pulse. A surge of power came out of his body and invaded the boy's body. A hidden energy penetrated until it reached the blackened stomach. Then he withdrew his energy. Your son is poisoned. What did you give him to eat? The middle-aged man said it's impossible. Usually the neighbors look after him and he's fine. You let your neighbors look after your own child. You're really irresponsible as a father. The man choked on his knees. My wife died young, so I have to work to earn money for my son's education. The boy's face was dark and he was out of breath. He seemed to have been poisoned. At this moment, the man with the big mustache began to instigate. This doctor is just a pillow. The people watching the show were talking about how he had just got his medical qualification, and how he had just got his medical qualification, and how he had just got his medical qualification. The crowd kept strongly condemning him, so they closed the door and sent the child to the hospital. These two goods again lowered their heads and smiled badly, really from the bones of the bad guys. Chu Qingyin is also very nervous. After all, they are right. How is he going to solve it? The middle-aged man stopped shedding tears. His temper suddenly surged upwards. Why didn't you say earlier that you couldn't cure him? Aren't you trying to kill my son? The child's condition is critical. We can't delay any longer. As expected, the child started coughing again, and this time, blood was spewing out. Qin Li was so serious, he had to treat him as soon as possible. So he lifted the quilt and told his father to get out of the way. He instantly summoned energy, and countless silver needles suddenly appeared in his hands. The meridians are the tunnels of the internal organs, so they can be said to have a line with the body, and the 6 internal organs guard the 5 viscera. The 8 meridians and veins are not subordinate to the internal organs. The survival of all things is the 8 meridians and veins are interconnected and mutually reinforcing. The silver needles in his hand pierced into the child's sun, moon, Zhuangui, Taiyi, and the upper star Huagai. The child's mouth slowly bulged, as if something was about to come out. He sat up quickly, but it was too late, and what was in his mouth was spat out. The middle-aged man wept with sadness. His son had been cured. Then he picked up his baby and said, I'm so sorry. The kid said he wanted to go to McKFC, and his father said he'd go get it now. Qin Li reminded the man that he was fine, and that he could go for a checkup if he wasn't sure. The middle-aged man realized his mistake. You are really a miracle doctor. The crowd immediately turned into wallflowers and actually saved the man's life. The man outside the door, who was fanning the flames, hammered the wall in anger, spitting obscenities. I did not expect him to save the child. Obviously gave the child to drink so much pesticide. The old man said, don't worry, let him jump around for a while. The man calls his wife excitedly, saying he's met a miracle doctor, and he's guaranteed to get pregnant tonight. The lights are switched off, but someone inside sighs. Qin Li arrived at the backyard gate in a state of exhaustion and hurried to lock up and go home. But in the woods across the street, the rustling sound of someone hiding rang out. The weak man instantly came to life and looked around alertly. A foot came out first from the opposite side. It turned out to be a woman, now leaning weakly against a tree, the short sword in her hand dripping with blood. He had to walk over to the injured woman. Are you here to see a doctor? The woman was like a beast, killing anyone she saw. Qin Li hurried to stop her. Wait, I'm the doctor here. Before she reached him, the woman's consciousness was fading. As expected, she fell to the ground with a thud, leaving this man at a loss for words. Suddenly, he began to feel sorry for himself It seems that he has to work all night. The beauty had already lost consciousness, so he picked her up and put her on the hospital bed. But he didn't treat her first. He dialed his wife first. Outside the mansion is quiet, the mobile phone ringing very suddenly. He said he had received a difficult patient and might have to work overtime tonight. Qin was a bit dissatisfied. So you're not coming back tonight? He said that he would sleep in the medical center tonight, so he didn't need his wife to wait for him to come back. She looked at her mobile phone with a bulging mouth, and suddenly had an illusion of rushing over to hit someone. Sure enough, she yelled at Qin Li, "You'll be living in a medical center for the rest of your life," and hung up the phone. Qin Li sighed helplessly. Next time, buy her some gifts. So he started to take out the potion and started to clean the woman's wound. He picked up the scissors and clicked off the pendant. It looked like he'd seen it somewhere before. He couldn't help but take a closer look. It was the hand tag of MI19. This discovery made him nervous. Why would someone from the 19th branch appear here? Some of us specialize in intelligence theft. Some specialize in weapons technology cracking. Their strength is terrifying. There are even those who secretly guide public opinion. But U19 are the most special. They dress in uniform, carry assault rifles on their shoulders, and are ready to act at any time. They leap from the rooftop without any concern for the danger they're about to face. But the man spat out ice-cold words. The 19 divisions were disbanded as of today. Obviously, the woman was not satisfied with this. Her pupils shrunk violently and her expression became crushed. She sat up violently and gasped for air. Only then, realizing that she was dreaming, she observed her body, only to realize that she actually wasn't dead. Qin Li lifted his sleepy eyelids. "You finally woke up. It was me who saved you. If you had come 2 minutes later, I would have been powerless to return to life." The beauty looked at the bandage on her hand and felt the pain at the slightest movement. She walked out of the bed with the pain. She's really a woman with strong perseverance. He packed the medicine in his hand. "Where do you plan to go next? You are now seriously injured." The beautiful woman said she had no home. She did not know where to go to. The man was stunned, and his eyes showed some sympathy. Then he said he was short of an assistant. "You can stay and help. The benefits will not be treated poorly." He worked all night, then opened the curtains and the sun was shining outside. Leon Qin looked back at him fiercely. "Can he really? I'll give you a salary every month, but it won't be too high. Just $5,000. She saw the man bathing in the sunshine, and for a moment she was out of her mind. "After all, you saved me. My life is yours. If I can use my place, I will certainly go through fire and water." Qin Li said he'd let her stay at the clinic, but the sound of life-threatening voices rang out from outside the door. He hurriedly opened the door and let in the loud woman. Sure enough, it's Miss Tenzzz. She's holding the ticket in her hand and telling him to follow it. "I'm here to ask you to represent Qin to participate in a jade competition." He took the ticket in his hand. Why should he go to the jade competition himself, but also to other places? "I did not expect them to Zhongcheng Gambling Stone Field. Inside has long come a lot of people." She pulled Qin Li's tie, ignoring the feelings of others, rushed to find the old man. The old man, who was exchanging pleasantries, came back to his senses and walked over quickly. He laughed loudly. "Qin, you're here." Qin Li didn't want to come at all, but still had to pretend to be interested. The old man said that he would like to trouble you. "Little friend Qin, this stone gambling competition is very important." He didn't want to be a counselor at all, but it was so powerful that he had to help. The jade competition is divided into 2 segments: gambling and carving, with the highest prize being the winner of the gambling competition. These 3 are your team members. They're all handpicked by me. I'm counting on you for this competition. The old man has paid a lot of money to participate in the competition. If he can get the top 3, he will be paid a lot. He's willing to give away an extra 10% of his shares if he can help him win. At that moment, Tin quietly threatened him. "I'm Qinya's best friend. Don't be afraid I'll say something bad about you." The man was trembling. "I'll do my best." So they arrived at the gambling square, which was already full of people. The big man looks very disdainful. A young man wants to choose a stone. Qin Li didn't want to get into an argument. "Since I'm here, I'd like to try my luck." The old man in the suit took out his bank card. "Since Mr. Qin has a taste for it, you can take this 1,000 and play with it." He took it, but didn't it say there were millions in it? The crowd began to speak sarcastically. "Have you ever seen so much money? You've never seen so much money. You're not qualified to pick the stone. Don't give us an inch." He's not interested. He's looking at the card in his hand with anticipation. There might be something hidden around the luxury building. Qin Li looked at the $1,000 stone and kept looking left and right. Finally, he found a glowing stone. This stone is different from the one he found last time. The energy inside seems to be more powerful. How is this? I looked at the unopened stone in front of me, and the waitress lady asked me, "Hello, sir. Do you want this stone?" Another looked to his teammate with him pushing the jade. "We're sitting pretty for the championship position this time. At least it's a raw stone worth nearly 5 million. Seeing that I didn't say anything, the waiter called me twice. I then hurriedly turned my head to look at it, and hastened to say that this stone should be. I took out the bank card they gave me and handed it to the waiter. "This card is also solid gold, worth at least 50,000, so use this card to offset it." That's when I heard a man call out to me, "Yo, Mr. Qin." These 3 cerebral palsy teammates are still taunting me. What kind of good stone did Mr. Qin buy? Can you win a place? Don't buy a pebble. Right. This old man is close to me. Kid, be sensible and hurry back. The position of Tam Ki's head honcho is not for anyone. I responded to him with an expressionless face. Is that so? It's hard to say whether the stone I bought will get a ranking or not, but I didn't intend to do the 10 Ki palm in the first place. You've all finished picking out the stones. Elder 10 came over. The old man whispered, "This time we've taken the 2 best raw stones in the whole field. We guaranteed to be in the top 3, and Tenji's name will definitely be on the line." Tian Lao looked at these 2 stones. The 2 pieces of leather material looks very good indeed. The window is also considered to be semi-main material. The quality should not be poor. On the other side of the street came another man in thug-like leather shoes. And if it isn't old Tan, he wrapped his arms around a beautiful woman and taunted Tan Lao. "After taking a source away from you last time, you still dare to come to the stone gambling? What?" Tan Lao immediately annoyed. "How to meet this 1,000 dagger? Do not need to bother with General Jin." General Jin's coughed up. Chief Jin examined me again. "I didn't realize that you've reached the point where you're using newcomers to help you fill up the ranks. It seems that you Tenji really have no one left. I advise you to pack up and leave now. At least you won't be humiliated on stage. The provincial capital, Zhongcheng, is not a place for Tenji to stay. Hurry up and shrink back to your Yongcheng." Old Su then came over. "Don't worry, Mr. Ten. Leave it to me. Old Su, I'm sure to squash that guy." They all came to the venue. The stage on the host began to speak. Everyone who came to participate in the jewelry competition audience. Guests, participants, please pay attention. Our session of this competition stone betting will begin soon. I'm the host, Xingwen. Will the contestants who drew the lots please come up to the stage and get ready? Elder Tan seemed uneasy with me, so he asked me, "Brother Qin, where's the stone you bought?" I opened the box and displayed the stones I had bought. Old Sui and the others just laughed at me. "You're sick of this $20,000 rack. You still have the face to bring it out." An old man looked at the stone I bought, heard a burst of muttering. "This price can't buy is already waste material. This kid is still too young." Also blamed me to look away from the eye. That's when the game started. Oh my god, am I blind? The first contestant has opened 2 pieces of old pig glass green. Another piece turned out to be a glassy imperial green. "It's so beautiful." The audience immediately waved their hands and wanted to buy this jade. Also was not common this. The first contestant to cut a stone was actually auctioned at such a high price, and the competition has only just begun. The host points to the big screen. Today's race is really too intense. Now the leaders are 63 million, 52 million and 42 million prices. And the last contestant is Tan Jewelry. They came with their entry stone. Old Su tremble in cutting stone. The heart constantly meditation to be green. Must be greener. Tim is also blessing the stone, but I'm just speechless. Alas, millions are wasted like this. When the piece of jade was cut, it was indeed stone, not a trace of green color. And the crowd is still looking forward to the stone, hoping to cut the emerald, but the result is whitehead. These 3 panicked. How could that be? How can it be? 5 million in stones. Oh, gone. The surrounding people also scoffed. What kind of palm eye is this? It's a miracle that Tenji can survive today with such an eye. The host is also a little disappointed. I didn't expect to buy the 2 most expensive stones and open them, but they are not worth a cent. This competition Tan Ki is really a big disappointment. Elder Tam is also helpless and feels that the Tam Ki sign is finished. I walked up with the box and the presenter realized that, wait a minute, Tan Ki still has a stone that hasn't been cut yet. Tim Lao wanted to call out to me, "Qin Li, stop it. Don't go up there and disgrace yourself again." I didn't care what the others said and continued to cut the stone I had purchased. The host stared at me cutting the jade and seemed to realize something was wrong. When the stone was cut, the hosts were stunned. It was an imperial green, such an unassuming stone, but it's actually an imperial green. I thought Tan Ki was completely hopeless. Lao Su is naturally unbalanced. Just 20,000 yuan. Actually bet on a piece of full green. What a piece of shit luck. Tan Lao stroked his beard. If all of this 5 million was in Qin Li's hands, Qin Li might actually be able to make Tan remember the championship. The host then saw me continue to cut the jade. Wait a minute, what's he doing? He's actually cutting jade. Oh my god, is he crazy? Qin Li, stop it quickly. Tam tried to tell me to stop and was shocked when I cut through. I helped the cut jade, which was glowing red inside. I can't believe it. What do I see? It's a jade within a jade. The host was ecstatic that the jadeite was encased in a blood jade, the last piece of blood jade that once fetched $1 billion. The crowd under the stage were shocked to see this red jade and let out a gasp of surprise. I took this human-sized piece of blood-colored jade, and this is the jade that Tam Ki chose. Oh my god, it's a rare jade within a jade, and it's a natural blood jade that takes thousands of years to form. Having the chance to see this piece of jade come out of the world, I feel that this life is worth it. The capitalists on stage are already impatient and are shouting out their prices. The people in the box above, who stood up, were also attracted by this piece of jade. This man brought his grandfather. This man actually opened a rare blood jade, but his grandfather seems to be in poor health, coughing all the time. He immediately squatted down. Grandpa, your illness seems to be getting worse. Your body is getting worse as you get older. I don't know if you'll be able to live as long as you want. Before he could speak, he continued to cough, and actually coughed up blood, and the following blood jade has been finalized, sold for $2 billion. Congratulations to Tam Ki for winning the competition, with an auction price of $2 billion. The crowd cheered as Tam led the crowd on stage to receive their awards. This tournament was truly an eye-opener. Just when I was about to leave, Tam called me back. He bowed to express his gratitude. Thank you so much for today. If it wasn't for you, our Tam Ki's sign would have been ruined today. I apologize for my skepticism. I pick up Tam, who had spoken harshly, and I didn't take it to heart. Elder Ten said with great bravado. As a token of apology, on behalf of Tenji, I will present all the money from the auction of this piece of blood jade to a Mr. Qin. I can't believe it. It's $2 billion. Qin Li, please don't push your luck. You're a valued member of my family now. And if we make a name for ourselves at this competition, we can establish our presence in the entire Jian province. Suddenly there was a group of men in suits behind me, shouting at me. I turned my attention. The bald man handed over the invitation. Young Master Jian of the organizers of this competition sincerely invites you to the Jian family. Please be sure to honor us with your presence, Mr. Qin. And that invitation reads, Jian's group, Jian City. I was still thinking about who Jian Jun was when I arrived at Jian's house. The man in black pressed his headset. A Mr. Qin has arrived. Over. I looked up at the mansion. It's really kind of a top-class mansion. There's a lot of them. The man in black brought me here. This way, please. A Mr. Qin. He knocked carefully on the door. Young master, a Mr. Qin has arrived. With that, the man inside opened the door. A Mr. Qin, finally you are here. Please come in. Jian Jun complimented me on today's match. A Mr. Qin's performance at the match today really opened my eyes. A Mr. Jian is very amused, but you are invited late at night. I think there must be something important. Jian Jun then continued. There's just one thing I'm particularly curious about. A Mr. Qin cut out the jadeite and then continued to cut. Could it be that a Mr. Qin already knew that there was blood jade hidden inside? When I held the piece of emerald, my hand felt warm, and I also sensed a hint of something strange. So I was curious to try to continue to cut it to see. Oh, so that's how it is. Jian Jun doesn't seem to believe it. Grandpa on the side is still coughing. I would like to ask you to help me find another piece of blood jade. I don't know a Mr. Qin. I looked at this grandfather and noticed him. He looked up too. What? Is there something strange about me? I looked at him earnestly. And truth be told, your condition has been, and if you don't save your life, I fear that. Oh, I didn't realize that a Mr. Qin was actually proficient in medicine. I came forward. I have a medical clinic in Yangcheng. If you don't mind, I can check your pulse. Grandpa also explained his condition. We have also searched for famous doctors, but there is no cure. Since a Mr. Qin is a doctor, there is no harm in letting him take a look at it. I took Grandpa Jian's pulse and unleashed my own medical skills, feeling the state of Grandpa Jian's body. It doesn't seem too good. I didn't realize that this baleful aura was on the verge of devouring the essence. This baleful aura constantly surrounded the essence in the center. My palms encircled the Bagua formation. 3 silver needles shot out of my hands, and my mouth shouted the word disperse. An hour later, the light dispersed from Grandpa Jian's body. He took a long breath, lifting myself up to wave again. I felt much more comfortable. I scratched my head. I've only suppressed your condition for the time being. To eradicate it, we have to look for the cause in a Mr. Jian himself. Jian Jun then explained, my grandpa has always been taken care of by me, and he usually rarely even goes out. I also realized the problem. Dare I ask if a Mr. Jian has received any treasures recently? Grandpa Jiang was thinking when he heard the word baby, and Jiang Jun said directly that there is a jade pillow. I explained the hazards. This jade pillow was most likely taken from the tomb. Prolonged exposure can cause death. Grandpa Jiang also said what happened to him. No wonder my body felt cold when I slept on the pillow. Jiang Jun patted my shoulder. My grandfather has been sick for a long time. I didn't expect Mr. Qin to be a kind-hearted healer. My Jiang family can promise you one request. I let go of his hand. Mr. Jiang, you're too kind. It's my duty to cure people, but I can't find the blood jade too. I held out a finger and had only one request. Oh, Jiang Jun patted his own chest. Mr. Qin, say it. As long as my Jiang family can't help, I will never postpone it. I took out a photo of my parents, who have been missing for 10 years without a trace. I see. He took the photo and thought about it. 10 years would be more difficult. It will take some time. That Jiang family will definitely do my best. That's all I can ask. I hope we find something. Don't worry, Mr. Jiang. I'll find it as soon as possible and bring it to you. Thank you, Mr. Qin. And the 200 million in this card will be used as startup funds for Mr. Qin's search for the blood jade. And we'll thank you again when we find it. Good. I took the card and thanked him. I'll contact you when I find the blood jade. He seems to have something heavy on his mind. Whether or not the Jiang family can regain its former glory can only depend on this fight. The next day back at Dryden Hall, the birds were twittering on the plaque. I'm back at last. I think we need someone to look after the clinic. When I was about to open the door, I heard someone call out to me, Dr. Qin, you're finally here. An old man came here. I've been having headaches lately. Please take a look at me. I can't help it. Okay, you come in with me. I'll take a look for you. When we were about to enter, we heard the man on the other side holding a loudspeaker. Tan's traditional Chinese medicine opens today, and the heir to the Tan family, Mr. Donald Trump, personally sits in the clinic. So you can't miss the chance to have a quality assurance. The old man turned his head to look over. Mr. Tan, could it be that Yongcheng's #1 Chinese medicine practitioner? The man also responded. Exactly. Moreover, we are 100 years of inherited medical skills, not something that can be compared to some miscellaneous medical centers. As a result, the old man ran to Tan's Chinese medicine, ready to register. This man whispered after the old man, have you heard of this Changquan Hall across the street selling fake medicines? I didn't expect it to run away 2 days ago and come back today. I walked away from the fruit, fierce to the two, and I said, have you ever thought of the consequences of making a rumor about me in front of me? I've only heard about Dr. Qin. A man immediately wimped out. That's when one of them came out. What are you fighting with a little apprentice for? As a doctor, how come you don't even have the stomach for this? This is the boss of Tan's Chinese medicine. Tom Pakwai. He stroked his beard and looked at me with a disdainful face. I have been practicing medicine for decades, and even young people nowadays dare to call themselves Chinese medicine practitioners. Here, let me help you look. The old man took off his hat too. He pointed to the pustule on his head and wondered if the divine doctor could cure this disease. What kind of strange disease is this? He was taken aback. It's the first time I've seen it in decades of practice. Then he took out a silver needle. Simple. Just pick through these pustules and drain them away. I reached out to stop him. Wait. The pus on this old man's head needs to be treated with a fire needle. I'm afraid it could be life-threatening if it's not handled properly. But Tang Bohui did not appreciate it. Old man, healing still needs you, this yellow hair boy, to teach. Stop it. It's a mutated herpes virus. You can't just pick through it like that. And he ended up picking a pustule. Just as I was finishing my sentence, the old man collapsed on the floor. What's going on here? Tom Pakwai is panicking too. I took out a box and rushed up to them and told them to get out of the way. He even tried to stop me. This is my patient. You Changquan Hall have no right to interface. I slapped him right in the face. People like you who treat your patients like toys don't deserve to be called doctors. I took out a silver needle and analyzed his condition. This old man Tan has just pierced the chi of the middle element, not knowing if it was too late. I stuck the silver needle in the patient's forehead. It's not good. This poison is difficult to cure in the body. Coupled with old man Tan's misuse of needles, the patient's internal cold is attacking his heart and is already eating up his vital energy. It's the only way to try. I cast the blazing fury needle technique. Shoot the silver needle in your hand and stab where the virus is located. Not a moment later, I breathed a long sigh of relief, and the patient came to his senses. I turned my head and spoke to Tang Bohui. You really bring shame to the Chinese medicine sector in Yansha. He could only grit his teeth and did not retort. Just as I was holding the patient and preparing to leave, he shouted behind me again, "Brah, do you dare to compete with me?" I turned my head with a small smile. The old man is more confident than his about saving people. Whoever makes the first mistake will get out of the Chinese medicine world forever. And this is the battle for the reputation of these two medical centers. Fine, Qin Li, will take this match. At this time, Tan's Chinese Medicine Museum entrance crowded. The crowd has lined up long and lively. The mother and daughter passing by were a bit surprised. So it was Qian Hall that wanted to compete with Tang Bohui, a famous doctor in Yongchang, to cure the patients. In the face of such a once-in-a-century bustle, how could the crowd let go, have blocked the door to get a glimpse of the excitement, only to see Tang Pakwai surrounded by one patient after another? After all, Tang Pakwai is also a famous doctor in Yongchang. However, on the other side, from time to time, I heard people say, Dr. Qin is really great. He's so skilled at such a young age. Tang Bohui, sniffing some slight frown, think of their own, has been practicing medicine for more than 30 years. Only nowadays this side of the medical skill, and that youth is actually so powerful. An afternoon actually did not make a mistake. Tang Bohui slightly, an assistant immediately understood the. Tang Bohui slightly pinched his eyebrows. The whole person appears extremely gloomy. Said in a cold voice, next, and this patient Tang Bohui just diagnosed the pulse. Suddenly seemed to be frightened. Instantly stood up. On the other side, there was still a long queue at the entrance of the Qianquan Hall, and even people continued to come. At this time, only to hear the woman said, "Doctor, I recently feel dizzy and dizzy chest swelling. You have no way to cure." The woman took my hand and kept saying, "I'm really suffering. Please help me. Look at it. I'm speechless. I don't look like I'm here to see a doctor. As a doctor, I can only reassure. Don't worry, I'll take your pulse first." As expected, the pulse is steady and strong, not like a disease. Can it be that? Just then a sudden cry of alarm came from the opposite side of the room, instantly attracting everyone's attention. I saw a man lying at the feet of Tom Pakwai, who was convulsing all over his body. The doctor next to see this rushed to rescue, and is in a panic to contact the hospital. Looks like the situation is critical. Tan Pakwai's whole body was slightly shaking at this moment. After practicing medicine for more than 30 years, this was the first time it was so flustered. Onlookers see this is also ready to leave. Go, this Tan's Chinese medicine really unreliable. Not a moment later the crowd came to the Qianquan Hall. The mouth also said this old man Tang really unreliable. At this time the woman was also a little anxious. Hurriedly said, "Oops, I'm so dizzy, as if I cannot." In just a moment the woman collapsed to the ground, and immediately startled the crowd. How to say that collapsed on the ground? Tang Bohui at this time, some angry and furious, directly to me yelled, "Qin Li, you do not get complacent early. We've got the same number of patients. If you can't cure this one, we're only even." I pulled out the silver needle with a slight smile. It did look like what I thought. It was really sent by Tang Bohui. In that case, I'll just have to use the largest size I can find. I'll have to take a good long look at it, I said playfully, holding up the large silver needle, which could become crippled if it was stuck in the wrong place. At this time the woman lying on the ground panicked, trembling with cold sweat running down her face. Just as I was about to tie it down, the woman suddenly sat her up and said, Don't, Dr. Qin, I'm not sick." I only heard the woman go on to say, "It was Tang Bohui who sent me to stir up the trouble." And as she said so, she walked towards the outside. Tang Pakwai was furious when he saw that things had been exposed. "What are you so proud of?" "I'm a famous doctor in Yongchang." I smiled slightly. This old man really do not know shame. Is the use of underhand tactics to sabotage the competition. Famous doctor. Well, looking at Tom Pakwai, my tone was icy cold. "Just people like you don't deserve to be a doctor at all." Looking at my distant back, Tang Bohui roared, "Qin Li, you remember, I'll find you to pay back this debt." After a whole day's work, it's finally time to rest. It's really out of character to compete with this kind of person. At this time, Leon Qin suddenly asked the boss, "Just now that person want me to deal with it." I was slightly stunned. "How, Leon Qin, your injuries have all been healed well?" Leon Qin moved his shoulders. "Thank you for your concern. This injury is nothing. If you have something to do, just ask." Looking at Leon Qin, I was very pleased and smiled and said, "You first rest well in my place." At that moment, I suddenly remembered that there was indeed a troublesome matter that needed to be dealt with by Leon Qin in the next few days. Before Leon Qin and I could finish, a phone rang, interrupting our conversation. I only heard a woman's voice on the other side of the phone, and I was a little puzzled. I was sure I didn't recognize this voice. The woman said lightly, "Mr. Qin, hello. I was commissioned by Xiongshao to send you information on the source of the raw stones. There's also something else I'd like to talk to Mr. Qin about, and it's certainly of no harm to you. So I wonder if you'd be interested. I was a bit curious, then I agreed. Since you said so, let's meet up and talk about it. The woman didn't say anything, so I'll send you the exact time and place on your mobile phone. Before I could finish, I heard a busy line, and the woman had hung up the phone. At this point in time, Don Bowie's house. Don Bowie was lying by the pool listening to the news. Yesterday, two Chinese medicine practitioners in Yangcheng had a medical competition, and Tang's medical hall owner, Tang Bohui, was defeated and announced his withdrawal from the Chinese medicine. The entire Tang family suffered an unprecedented attack. At this time, Tang Bohui has been angry, hands trembling. Just heard a bang. The cup in Tong Tak Wai San shattered with a sound. Switch off the TV for me. Just then there was a knock on the door. Is Dr. Tang there? Tom Pakwai was not in a good mood at this time. Who was not asked, only to see shouted to the other side to get lost. The man outside didn't get annoyed. He just said softly, I can't help you take revenge on Qin Li. The moment the man finished speaking, the door to the room, which had been closed tightly, was instantly pulled open by someone. At this time, Tang Bohui has appeared in front of the man. He was slightly stunned as you. The man didn't have much whatsoever, just pulled out a burst of paper and handed it to Tang Bohui. Taking it into his hands, Tang Bohui, merely looking at the same, suddenly the whole person was stunned silly.